Not a great day to be a Rays fan after your hometown team lost 7-0 to the San Francisco Giants, and we got further injury news, and not the good kind.
Not a lot of positives to get from yesterday, but we'll try starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on the social medias at Locked On Rays and email us anytime. We are planning to do a mailbag episode sometime this week and in the near future. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. All right, without further ado, let's get into the big news of the day, and that is Shane McClanahan will be out, of course, the rest of this year, and will be out the rest of next year, 2024, as he will be having Tommy John surgery for a second time. He had it for the first time back when he was at USF, so certainly a devastating blow to the team and the fan base for the present and the near future.
Yeah, and we knew that this was most likely what was going to happen. We just wanted to wait for it. But yeah, I mean, you say left forearm tightness. He's a lefty. We've seen, and then the whole rigmarole of we're going to see this doctor, and then we're going to see this other doctor, and then we're going to see this other doctor, and then hey, the appointment is planned for Monday, and then even Topkin goes, apparently it's tomorrow, even though they had said it was Monday all along. Like, come on, like it was just right there.
It was inevitable.
We all knew, and that doesn't mean that it's less painful, but it now it really puts a really big damper. I mean, it's on this season with the injuries to the rotation. You go Drew Rasmussen, you go Jeffrey Springs, you go Shane McClanahan, and now your margin of error is now at 0.
Right. And I'm curious, not just for this year because of what has gone on with the present injuries and the news of Wander Franco as well, but what do they do and what are their plans for next season, knowing that you'll be without Shane McClanahan, the possibility that you could be without Wander Franco? I know Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen will miss a chunk of time. I don't know their exact timelines, but that's a lot of bullets that you're taking out of the chamber there. So is it a case of, you know what, maybe this is not rebuild time, but retool time? What do we do with Tyler Glasnow's $25 million contract? What do we do with Zach Eflin? What do we do with Aaron Savali? What do we do with Manny Margot, for example, which we'll get to in a second? And I wonder what Shane McClanahan, because this is terrible timing, as he would be entering and will be entering arbitration. What will he get for that first year? And I guess the second year, I guess whatever he gets this first year in arbitration is just going to be replicated for that next year. But if he was healthy through the course of this season, I would imagine he would have more money coming to him. So that's an unfortunate part of it as well. So there's a lot flying around as to what are the Rays going to do, not just for the rest of this year, but what are their plans in 2024?
It makes you think so many things, because if the Rays, they could go the retool way where it's, hey, Randy Arozarena, you're at very high value. We can get some nice pieces for you. Tyler Glasnow, we can get really nice pieces for you if he doesn't get injured. If he doesn't get injured,
and that might be the other wrinkle in this is if he doesn't get injured the rest of the season, if he pitches like he did the other night through the rest of 2023 and into what we hope is a deep postseason run, that might be the time to cut loose, because you don't want to have another unfortunate injury happen to one of your starters, and then you're on the hook for that money, and you're on the hook for not getting as big of a return as you'd like to get.
And he's not only pitching, he's pitching. He was the AL pitcher of the month
Right.
last time. So yeah, he's been pitching great. So if he's able to continue that, of course you can get really nice pieces for it. And $25 million might sound a lot to Rays fans. For 26 other fan bases, it's really not. They can do that. And then out of those 26, 15 would not even sneeze at it at 25 mil. So yeah, I definitely could get pieces there for Randy, for Tyler. And then do you even go further than that? Just go, hey, Manny Margot, that's a lot of money for you as well. We might package you with somebody else to get some payroll relief. I mean, this could be this whole Shane McClanahan / Wander Franco situation could permeate throughout the whole roster and kind of shake the opportunity window that we've been talking about since 2019 when we started this podcast. It's like, don't think that opportunity windows to win the World Series are always open. They're not. Ask the Texas Rangers. Remember that team that was amazing in the early 2010s, and then they became awful. That's what happens. You have a really good window of really good baseball, a really good talented core group of players, and then that's gone. And if Wander Franco and Shane McClanahan are not going to be part of it, and you talked about Drew Rasmussen and Jeffrey Springs, look, Jeffrey Springs pitched in April. Okay, that means that TJ at least is 15 months.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're going to get. So 15 months, that's what? That's 3 months after April. So May, June, July. So he would be coming after the All-Star break. Drew Rasmussen, apparently same thing after the All-Star break. Who's going to be in your rotation before these two guys get there?
Yeah.
What? Savali, Eflin, Glass now, if you don't trade him, and then Tosh and Littell, and then there's no depth. Who's the depth? Jacob Lopez?
Yeah.
Criswell?
And that might be a case where if you were to trade Tyler Glass now, we'll have more to discuss on this for sure, but you don't just get, hey, let's get a couple hotshot prospects in, single A, double A. Let's get guys like Taj Bradley-esque who are ready to ripe. They are ready to go and implement right into the major league roster, more or less. So that might be another situation to look at down the road. But first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience about something extremely, extremely important.
Yes, we do. Okay, Locked On Rays fans, I have to tell you about this new app called Bunches. Bunches is a new app built just for sports fans like you, where you can chat sports in real time. Click the link in the show notes and description to join the app, or go to the Apple App Store and download Bunches right now. This is where you're going to have amazing conversations with other Locked On Sports fans. It's really fun. If you like sports because you're watching Locked On Rays or any other Locked On podcast, you're definitely going to want to do this. So download the Bunches app today. And when you do, our friends at Bunches have featured the Locked On MLB Bunch in the Discover tab. It's very easy to find. So you can also click the link in the description or the show notes of our pod to join the Locked On MLB Bunch community today. If you have any questions, of course, everybody will be able to help you. So again, download the Bunches app today.
Yes. And we also continue on the Shane McClanahan matter. We can't just assume that once 2025 rolls around that he's going to be vintage Shane McClanahan again. He could be a completely different player. He may not be the same guy. So let's also not get, I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but let's not get our expectations up. Like 2025, we've got a Cy Young pitcher right on our hands again. A lot of complications, a lot of things can happen. Players evolve and change for the positive or the negative. So I just want to throw that out there as well. I know one guy we haven't really mentioned as far as the pitching plans for next season, and I'll be curious to see what he can provide, is Shane Baz. So you would have a little infill there seemingly, I think, but it's going to take a lot more than that to build out this playoff rotation. Or
but
rotation,
just like
but rotation in general for 2024.
Sure, but what you said about Shane McClanahan, you don't know what you're going to get. That also goes along with Drew Rasmussen, and it goes along with Jeffrey Springs, and it goes along with Shane Baz, who will be coming back from TJ. So it's a lot of question marks on a lot of arms that are making your rotation. So right now, I think I wouldn't be surprised if if the 2023 offseason becomes kind of a fire sale. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think if you're a Rays fan, you might need to breathe deep and put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what could happen. And some guys that you really appreciate would be gone and would no longer be wearing a Rays uniform. I mean, I know we even made a specific episode about Brendan Lau being untradeable, which to this point, I still stand by our argument that he is untradeable. He might be traded in the offseason now. Like this is where we are. This is where we are right now. You're seeing Curtis Meade get the call up. You're seeing Osleivis Basabe get the call up, for whatever reasons. This might just be the way that, hey, we're just going to influx some youth, and so that they can see these other guys working at it, but we're going to dismantle this whole thing. And I was going to say, Kevin, do you think the dismantling happens if they go deep into the playoffs or if they're not successful in the playoffs, or does it matter which way?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it matters. If they go deep in the playoffs, then that might change the complexion of things. And there's also the other wrinkle of this organization is trying to gain funding for a new stadium. So maybe that could alter the calculus and the situation as to what they do, because you also don't want that bad PR hit of, here we go, Rays, another fire sale, another, lowering the payroll and all that. So that's something that has to be considered. Frankly, and I don't know how confident or unconfident you are on this, but they still have to get into the playoffs too. I mean, you are without McClanahan and Wander. I think they're going to get in, and what happens can be a crapshoot, but it could be a little bit of a tougher tale and a tougher ask than we thought beforehand. Now, also adding, I know he hasn't been his normal self this year, but you're taking a veteran outfielder and defensive stalwart out of the clubhouse or out of the play in Manny Margot, who's dealing with elbow issues on the right side, right elbow issues, which are limiting his swing and throwing. Manny Margot will be having a procedure to remove loose bodies. And that's another guy who, I mean, if we're going to do a podium of candidates that the Rays would try to move off the roster, it might be Manny Margot, because he is the highest paid position player, earning $7 million this year and signed for $10 million in 2024. And I would say generally by Rays standards, the production has not matched what his paychecks put forth, but he is a valuable piece of the organization. Just go look at his defensive highlights and some of the momentum swings he's made over his career and sometime this season. But it's been certainly a down year for Manny Margot. He hasn't played as much as we would have or should have expected. He's got a career low on base percentage, and it's just been a seemingly quiet Manny Margot season, where before it was always, Manny Margot, we can count on him to step up, and he's kind of underrated, but now he's just kind of absent seemingly. Like it's just been very like, oh, he's on the team. Like, what's going on here?
He was pushed into the fourth outfielder role, and he now is exactly like a fourth outfielder. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was pushed into the fourth outfielder, you're like, oh wow, that's interesting. And then now you're like, oh yeah, he's producing exactly like you would expect a fourth outfielder. The problem is what you said, is the money. The money doesn't really match a fourth outfielder kind of production, especially when you're the Tampa Bay Rays and you just said he's the highest paid position player. Like that doesn't make sense. So there were rumors that they were going to try to trade him during the the trade deadline this year. So
Mm-hmm.
he's out there for the taking for anybody who's interested. I don't know, man. I feel like it's really odd having a team with a record, 22 over 500, or however the mailbag
Right.
question guy said, but it's and just feel so terrible about this team and about where it's going. It's odd. It's odd being 72-50 and saying, like, right now, look, let me spin this a little bit. Will the Rays make the playoffs? I would put so many green skittles on this. Like,
they have a 92.8% chance to make the postseason per Baseball Reference, a 5.9% chance to win the World Series per Baseball Reference.
It's too easy to say yes, they're going to make the playoffs. Like, because it would have to be not only a monumental decline by them, like they would have to have another July for the rest the next 2 months, and then 3 other teams would have to play incredible ball.
Right.
So make the playoffs. They're making the playoffs now.
But there's always that chance, that 7.2% chance that, in as crazy as this season has been, another brick to the face, I could see it happening. Not say it's going to happen, but I could fast forward down to late September and say, what the F?
I always talk about standings, and I always go back to 2011, because if you lift that as a Rays fan, I believe that you really shouldn't be looking at standings until when it matters. However, you just said 7.2% that they don't make the playoffs, correct? 7.2?
Yeah, based on Baseball Reference numbers.
Okay. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you think on September 1st, 2011, when the Rays were 9 games out, what was the percentage that they could make the playoffs? Or
probably
rather,
like
I'm going to make it
1%.
easier. I'm going to give it. Yeah. What were the Red Sox odds that they were not going to the playoffs? Was it smaller than 7.2%? Because if it was smaller than 7.2%, and that actually came to fruition, then maybe as a Rays fan, I would be sweating a little bit more, because you have seen it happen. But I mean, I'm willing to say that they're going to make the playoffs. It's just the deep run is now more in question.
Right. And a lot of things can happen when you have, as talented as they may be, you have Basabe in the lineup, you have an Aranda in the lineup, you have a Mead in the lineup, you have a Pinto in the lineup. A lot of rookies to go around.
Yep.
And that makes for a lot of mistakes and growing pains.
Pinto.
And that can shift the complexion of a game, a week, a series, a month and a half, just throwing it out there.
Kevin, you could have Pinto, Basabe, Mead, and Aranda playing it in the same game. That's 4 rookies.
Yeah.
In a team that wants to started the year with World Series aspirations, not only getting to the World Series but winning it, and you could be looking at a team that is fielding 4 rookies.
Yeah.
And if you count Luke Raley, he's a rookie too by the standards, and Josh Lowe's damn near close.
Exactly.
It's tough, man. It's tough what's happening right now.
Yes, it certainly is. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you this. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head over to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know that the part will fit, or your money is returned. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. Before we briefly dive into the near clunker of a 7-0 loss, I should note this about Manny Margot. I think I mentioned that he had a career low 654 OPS this season. We should also put that in context. It's not like he's a 760, 770 OPS guy. His numbers are around, 680, 690, 700 OPS. So the numbers are kind of similar-ish to what he's put in previous years, but I think a big difference, it's not because he missed a large chunk of time last year, if I recall. So he's trying to kind of get back to that 2021 level, but he's played in, 80, 85 games this year. So you're paying him that amount of money to play in 60% of the games. The equation just doesn't add up in that regard. So just wanted to throw that out there.
And if he was playing like he was last year before he got hurt in that Yankee game, he was on fire, man. I mean, they even called him Manny Margot ahead. Like that's how good he was.
Yeah. You could when the team was down by 1 or tied, or they needed an insurance run or two, single up the middle, single the other way, single pulled. You could usually count on him for that. And there's been a little bit of that this season, but not as much as we've been used to, like I said. So
yeah, no. So yeah, I don't think he'll be back for that money. I think you're gonna have to play with the young kids. You're gonna have to play with Siri and Rayleigh and Lowe. And if Randy is traded, then you're gonna have to find out,
and
what you're gonna do in the outfield.
Basically, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there with Margot. If he misses 3 to 4 weeks, that's basically close to the rest of the season, because I would imagine it would also take him time to build back up and get comfortable playing in major league action and the speed of the game and the opposing pitchers as well. So, I mean, just trying to think about it, you sort of lost him for the rest of the regular season, and then you might hope that he can be back for a playoff run where he does have that valuable playoff experience. And with all the stuff that's going on with Wander Franco, a guy like Manny Margot, Spanish speaker, at 28 years old, who's been in the league for as long as he has. I mean, that was kind of, I think, part of the reason the Rays signed him was because of not what he could do on the field, but the guidance that he could provide to, the Latin players off the field as well. And that he was, pretty much entering his prime. He's only 28 years old right now, so you would think he'd have a lot of quality years left, but I think that kind of dampers things a little bit as well.
Yeah, no, it certainly does, man. Man, my head is going all over the place with this whole thing because my God, get yourself in the April mindset, Rays fans, and now look at where we are. We're talking about basically retooling, trading away.
We've gone from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. That's where we're at here.
Yes, beautifully put. You're at a stage where you don't even give the starting role to Mayfield. You're like, no, you gotta earn it, buddy. Like that's where we are right now as a fandom.
Pretty much.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Life can change on you on a dime. So, and I know this is sports and it's not, the most important thing. But if we just talk about it in a vacuum, wow, did our fandom change with all of these news? I mean, it's again, spring started it, Rasmussen, now McClanahan, Margot, Wander Franco. Like, it's been hit after hit after hit. I just don't know how many hits can that's why I was kind of cheeky with you and Evan last week, which, by the way, sending good thoughts to Mr. Evan Klosky.
Yes.
That's why I was cheeky. I was like, how many teams can survive losing one Cy Young? How about 2 Cy Youngs? How about 3 Cy Youngs? Like, okay, how many other teams can withstand that plus their best player on the team being gone?
Yeah, and not just their best player on the team, but maybe one of the top 3, top 5 position players in all of baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how many teams can survive that? Like, you can be as optimistic as you want. I don't know how you can look at this Rays team right now on August 16th and look at the roster and what the opportunities say, and just say, hey, you know what? We are taking a step back. Like this is not what we thought it would be in August when we were back in April.
Is there a Kevin crash moment that you wanted to put forth?
Yeah, and I shout out to Mr. Neil Solondz, because when I think it was like 3 seasons ago, maybe during COVID, I don't remember, he was kind of giving crap to fans, saying, it's very easy to say in hindsight, like that should have worked better. So just let me tell you a little story. So brushing my teeth, it's late, I'm watching the game on the phone, and Littell is just fantastic, by the way. Littell has been doing great this year. And boom, he gets hit with a solo shot, and then I believe a little single comes through. At that point, he had pitched 5 2/3, 3 hits allowed. Okay. Or no, maybe it was it was a man on first. Just 1 run allowed, gets a solo home run, then a hit or something like that. A man is on base. He's got 79 pitches. He's been pitching terrific. And here comes Kevin Cash. And in that moment, I was like, I don't like this. That's getting too cute. It's getting too cute. Too cute with the bullpen. Just let the man finish his outing. 5 2/3, 79 pitches. He's not going to die, and you can still give him 1 more hitter. And you can, they stress the whole thing about the bullpen. We really want to give guys in the bullpen the clean inning. Then don't get cute. Don't get cute. So he got cute. First pitch, boom, 2-run shot. I watched the post game. Kevin Cash said, well, that pitch honestly was a good pitch. We've seen that pitch be rolled over to third many times. It wasn't this time, was it? I just, not a lot of Kevin Crash moments this year. But that one, I feel like if I could see it while brushing my teeth, how can they not see that? How can they not see that? That, hey, 79 pitches. The guy's been pitching fantastic. Like, why get cute?
We've entered the point of the season where we are clamoring for Zack Littell, of all people, to go deeper in the games. That is the situation we're at here. First off, I was going to play devil's advocate, but over his last 4 appearances, he's made 82 pitches, 74 pitches, 73 pitches, 79 pitches. So he should be, built up. His arm should be sturdy enough. In fact, when he went to 82 pitches against Houston back on July 30th, the start before, or the outing before, it was 26 pitches. So he jumped from 26 to 82. So I would think he had a few more shots in the arm there. But it could also be a case of, hey, we got to protect any and every arm at all cost. I don't know. But this is the reality we're living in, I guess, where it's not, how could you take out Blake Snell? How could you take out Tyler Glasnow? How could you take out Shane McClanahan, Jeffrey Springs, Drew Rasmussen, Zach Eflin? No, it's Zack Littell season. That's where we're at.
Yeah, it's
credit to him for, I guess, and also the Rays for remaking and reworking him and pushing him forward as a starter, just like they did with Drew Rasmussen a couple of years ago. I was kind of knocking the drum for them to do that. I know that he was only a 2-pitch pitcher at the time, but it was like, maybe let's extend this guy out and see if he has this capability, and maybe Littell's that guy. And I'm sure Littell was really motivated to get through that, compared or considering his history in a Giants uniform and his history with Gabe Kapler of the Giants. So there's probably some extra fight in him to really want to push forward. But I guess that's what we gotta bank more on Zack Littell. We gotta push him and prod him into a more prominent role? Is he our number 4 starter now? I can't even keep track, you know?
Bro, I mean, yeah, I guess he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, there's that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hopefully the Rays can salvage this series and win the series before they go to face the LA Angels, but we'll find out about all that. In the meantime, thank you all for making us your very first listen every day. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.